Hello everyone, I'm Matthias Nordweg from Programmiere.de, and in today's video I'll guide you through the installation and essential configuration of our GDPR compliant ReCAPTCHA plugin. Ensuring your forms and logins are spam-free has never been easier. Let's get started. To begin, head over to the WordPress plugin store and search for ReCAPTCHA GDPR. Once you find our plugin, simply install and activate it. After installation, you are automatically directed to the settings page. Easy, right? If you need to revisit settings later, go to Settings on your dashboard. Our plugin is listed there. The settings page is organized into several tabs. In this video, I'll focus on the tab Most Relevant. The most relevant options are Explicit mode, Direct Analysis mode, Analysis mode, and Apply for WordPress login. Let's start with Explicit mode. The major challenge for the plugin is not to cope with spam, but to adapt to your specific plugin environment. In the default configuration, the plugin covers all submissions and sometimes may block technical background processes. While it usually works nevertheless to avoid compatibility issues and for the best possible website performance, I recommend running Explicit mode. In this mode, the spam check recognizes only form submission types that you explicitly list. Now, Direct Analysis mode. This mode helps you set up submission types covered by the spam check in Explicit mode. With this option activated and being logged in, you can visit the pages holding your forms and submit them to record the relevant submission types. Further instructions will be given directly on the pages when you submit the forms. Let's look at two examples. First of all, we save the options. Now let's start with a form builder built with WP Forms. As soon as we enter the page, a loading screen will appear indicating that the analyzer is being prepared. Once the preparation is done, a hint will inform us so and that we can submit forms now. Another hint and a window came up. The Analysis window is showing us that a first post request has been recognized by the Analysis mode. The gray background of the first entry indicates that it is not relevant for us and that it was probably initiated from a background process of the page. Nevertheless, we could open it and add it to the spam check, but for now we just ignore it. Let's close the hint and let us submit the form. Another hint comes up and a new record marked in red and with a red exclamation mark appears. This means our submission was recorded and it is not yet covered by the spam check. Click on this submission type, adjust the analysis window size as required, close the hint. Now we can see the attributes that have just been submitted to the server. On the left-hand side, you can see the attribute name and on the right, its value. More on that later. Now let's save the submission type pressing the button Save Action. As soon as the submission type is being saved, a further hint will inform us so. We close the hint. Furthermore, the recorded submission is evaluated again, marked in green with a check mark given on it. That means from now on, this form will be covered by the spam check. Let me give you another example. Therefore, I've prepared a contact form 7 form. This time, next to the attributes of the submission, checkboxes appeared. This is because Contact Form 7 is not using standard WordPress Ajax for form submissions, but instead an old school post request. In order to cover this type of submissions with a spam check, we have to choose an appropriate pattern from the attributes. We can do so by checking the attributes and values that feel appropriate for that purpose. Attributes marked red are identified as technical attributes. They usually serve best to form a good pattern. Attributes that are not marked usually contain the content of the submission. They are no good candidates, as many bots try to send forms with varying fields to undergo honeypot techniques. Therefore, it is important to let the pattern contain fields that are technically required to process the form submission on the server side. A good pattern is usually a speaking technical field name that describes the type of submission. In this case, I would use just the key _WPCF7 without the value, as I want the spam check to cover all forms made with Contact Form 7. Another good practice is to use as few fields as possible for the pattern. Let's go back to the settings page. If you want to adjust the submission types, you can find them under the tab Scope. Let's refresh the page to see the updates. Apply on Actions holds all Ajax submission types that are covered by the spam check. Apply on Pattern holds all patterns for old school post request submission types. Let's go back to most relevant options. Finally, don't forget to deactivate the direct analysis mode. The analysis mode is an alternative for technical advanced users. In this mode, all submissions, even those made when not being logged in, are recorded and can be found in the analytic box. From here, they can be listed too to be covered by the spam check. The procedure is the same as explained for the direct analysis mode. Let's go back to the settings page. The option Apply for WordPress Login does exactly what it indicates. It applies spam protection to your WordPress login. This is probably the most important security feature of a web page, protecting the login from brute force. Fun fact, due to the way the spam protection plugin works, a brute force spammer won't get in even if it is using the correct credentials. One more thing. For those who want to check whether everything works fine, the plugin comes with an inbox feature. We have seen it before for the analysis mode. But if you are not currently adjusting the spam check for performance reasons, the analysis mode should usually be deactivated. Therefore, the submission can be recorded separately. We differentiate between clean messages, which is covered by this option, and spam messages, which is covered by this option. Clean messages are messages that stem from human input. Let me show you how it looks like. Here are the inboxes. Inside the inboxes, the messages are loaded. You can open each message, which is loaded each-wise separately, and you can manage them. We can move the messages between the inboxes. We can do bulk actions with several messages at a time, and we can also delete all messages at once. Let's go back to the settings page. In order to maintain your messages more easily, you can set up a deletion interval for each inbox. We have it here. The interval is measured in days. Messages that are older than the interval are deleted automatically from the plugin. Another interesting option is flag spam messages. This option is an alternative to block spam. Its intention is to just flag a spam submission instead of blocking it. This makes sense if you want to still receive all messages, for instance, with your email client. And if you want to set up rules to move spam to a specific spam folder there. If you are using this option, you need to make yourself comfortable with these rules here. Please read the help therefore.